Hello YouTube. Uh, on my last video I had to make some changes. Essentially my world got lost and I started over. Anyway, I've made some updates to the harvester power generator. I've also added a dirt farm into it, which is quite easy. The harvester system is essentially the same, except I've gone from using transfer pipes for all of my charcoal moving and power moving to using the item conduit, energy conduit, and fluid conduit from Ender.io. Much easier and better system. Like before, I've got my wood and various pieces that come from the harvester. Dumps into the chest, goes through a transfer node with the various types of logs, pushes into a redstone furnace, which turns it into charcoal, and the charcoal is pushed out through this brown channel, and it also is pushed into the Stirling generator. Now, that comes down, and down below I have these pipes here, and the black fluid is the sludge you see from there. And what's nice about the Ender conduit is you don't need to worry about the pipes mixing or crossing, because you can put energy, fluid, and items all within the same block of space. So fantastic stuff, not too hard to make, and it works really well. So if you'll notice over here on the Stirling generator, I'm running on a brown channel, so it's pushing charcoal into this one, and that's attached to the planter, which is taking all of my saplings. And this one here is also running into the brown channel for the sludge boiler, which is working because I'm now sick from sludge. It has a blue output, which runs into a blue channel to this chest, and here's all of my goodies coming out of it. But the dirt farm is what I wanted to go over in this video. The dirt farm. Oh, also you can run multiple harvesters off a single sludge boiler. So I've set up another one here for magical essence. Got my lily pad of fertility there, and it's spitting out all the stuff that magical crops makes. But you'll notice the sludge comes down from this one as well in this pipe, and comes across, and they both are feeding that sludge boiler, and it's doing just a fine job. But regarding the dirt farm, here is what we did. This chest doesn't show anything right now because I've essentially got it turned off. I have it turned off because I've got plenty of dirt. 64 stacks, 64 plus more. Essentially, if I look inside this item, I've got an item filter, a basic item filter in place, and it's telling it to take the leaves and vines. Now, the way I managed that one was, if you're going to do shear leaves, be sure that you go into the planter and you say consume stack off, because when you shear leaves, it does not give you saplings, and if it does, they're pretty sparse, not enough to keep up with what you're planting. But come in here and say shear leaves. Right now it's turned off because I'm rebuilding the amount of saplings I have, but you turn that on and it will send these leaves into this chest. It's got a green output from the chest. This is a green input, and as you saw before, it's set to take only those leaves. The leaves then move through these item conduits directly down into barrels, just oak barrels, and they're all hooked together. Now underneath each one is a hopper. Hopper has nothing because it's set to spit the items out of the hopper and come around and put them into the better barrels, which will only take dirt. So there you go. It will automatically make power, it'll make dirt, and it'll get you a ridiculous amount of wood and rubber and whatever else comes from whatever tree that you plant. Nice thing is each one of these systems you add, you put another Stirling generator and you add to the amount of power that you produce. And it's a really good way to get cheap power in the beginning, throw up a capacitor bank, and start stacking up your power. That way you can charge your jetpack, or your staffs at traveling, or just whatever you want. Anyway, that was a little update. I can go over move fluid and some of the other changes. This here is an automated soul sand setup. I haven't built an ME in this one yet, and so I haven't got it all plumbed in. But essentially, if you drop a block down in, I don't have any blocks. Okay, if you drop a block like a regular piece of wood right there in that corner of this water supply, it will temporarily take that block off. So you put the block down, and you put a liquid transfer node with a world interaction upgrade on it, and it will try to it'll try to suck the block up. Well, it can't, of course, and so you break the block. And since this is a water source, it'll create a never-ending water source block and essentially pump that water right up into this oak barrel, which the graphics are a little screwy on it, but yeah, that's full of witch water. The oak barrel is sitting on mycelium. And then you pump the, you put another fluid transfer node from there. I've also got it chained into a tank, so it'll make more fluid than I actually need. So if I wanted to do a whole lot of sand at once, soul sand at once, I could. And so it works pretty slick. And you could automate that, but I highly doubt that I would want to do that, just because of the amount of soul sand it'll create. It'll make way more than you need. So just a quick demonstration. You take your sand, throw it in the hopper. Look at how fast it's going to go away. It's pumping out. It drops into this hopper, which pushes into this chest, and there's our soul sand. And it will chew up whatever's in the pipe, whatever's there. And whenever I want to do large amounts of sand, I just go into this node and I switch it to extract. And then it will fill up this tank faster. Look at that. Look at how fast that sand is coming in now. It's already done all 6 of them. But if you want it to fill up, you got to put it back to insert. I'm sure there's a way to configure the in and out to make it work, but I haven't really been worried about that because I've got lots of other stuff to work on. This here, this complicated system, prevents your mob spawner from getting a bunch of junk and filling up your chest you've got attached to it. Essentially, mobs drop down there. I keep getting vines growing over it. I made the mistake of using vines instead of ladders. Anyway, so the mobs die. They drop, and behind this is a fan. The fan, if you can see it's blowing me around, is pushing the mobs, their experience, their parts out to a vacuum hopper, which shoves the experience in here, shoves the items in here. But there are no items in here because I've got an item transfer node set up. And it just says take everything out of this chest. Well, if you look at this first one, we have all the types of loot bags, except for the bacon bag and the waffle bag, set up for this chest. And look, there's some of them in there. And everything that's not a loot bag continues down the pipe. So we look into the next filter, which is going to grab all the goodies that fall. I didn't want to do chicken, but my wife wanted me to, so I got chicken. There are these items that are set in the filter, so it'll pull those items out of the pipe. And you look, and there are some of these items. Now, some of them I've taken out and used for other things, so that's why it's quasi-empty. This one here, it's set to grab the weird stuff, unknown dimlets, things that I think I might want to keep, treasure bags, and whatnot. And so that's what you'll find in here as the mobs die. And then everything else, once you've selected everything you want to keep out, and there's really no limit to the number of chests and the number of item filters you can put on this, as long as they're spaced properly. And then at the very end, you put a trash can. So everything that you don't want to keep, you set this to insert, and it will pull everything that you wanted out of it and then dump the remains right into the trash. The trash can is a really nice addition to have in Sky Factory 2, because if you're like me, I get clumsy and I fall off the world often. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure you know Tinker's Construct and how the lava system works. I got a little bit lazy. Actually, I thought this was cool. I made my whole cobble gen out of glass, the clear glass. Fills up the lava drum. Now, the level of this lava drum is the same if you want to use the regular fluid conduit. As long as it's the same or lower, you can get the lava to pump in there, regardless of how far down you go or back up you go. So if you want to use lava and multiple generators, I highly recommend making sure that either you build your lava gen or your cobble gen that you make your lava crucibles and all that with either higher than most things, or instead of you would take all of the lava that comes out, put it into a barrel, and if you wanted to pump upward, instead of using a fluid conduit, come off of that with one of these liquid transfer nodes, because these will pump it up no matter what. Liquid transfer node, you don't need a world interface item if you're coming from a container of some kind, and then you can pump it up as high as you want. Ideally, I'd put a small tank there. If I needed to use these regular fluid conduits at other places, I'd put a small tank there and run my my dark transfer pipe off of a fluid conduit up to the highest point in my base, and then come back down with this fluid conduit. That would allow you to put lava in any place that you wanted. I like using the steel drums because of their capacity. It's 256,000, and that one pumps directly into the to this seared tank on my smeltery, so I never have to worry about it. This was just me being lazy. Those treasure bags, the rare and uncommon treasure bags that we found, are often full of small gold coins. You can throw those gold coins into this chest. The chest is set up with another item conduit that's set to take everything out and push it right into the smeltery. So instead of worrying about the number of spaces I have available within the smeltery, like just this many, I can take a stack, 2, 3, 4, however many stacks of 64 gold coins, drop them in this chest, and just walk away from it. Because as it fills up with fluid, and these particular spaces open up, it will automatically refill it with more coins or more items. Just be cautious when you do that. And you can do it with gravel, iron gravel or any of the other things. Just be cautious that when you put different types of ore in there, that you might mix them and end up with, well, more aluminum brass than you know what to do with. That's pretty much it. I ended up starting right next to a desert biome, so oddly enough, when I created my field for my spawns, it was desert, and I ended up with a whole bunch of different fluid cows. Nothing else has spawned, no chickens, no sheep, no pigs, just a whole bunch of various types of fluid cows. That turned out to be pretty advantageous regarding the achievements that you can finish. The automated milking machine will we'll just go into how that one's set up. This one looks like it's full. It's for fairy something or other. You got your autonomous activator with an empty bucket in it. You have your fluid transposer, that's empty right now. And occasionally the cows get stuck. But if you look here in this filter, item filter right there, it says it'll only take an empty bucket. You look into this filter, and these are the types of full buckets that it will kick out. So that thing is constantly right-clicking. It's got an empty bucket on it. So as soon as the cow becomes available to be milked, it milks it. Or it puts that milk in a bucket. It detects that the bucket is full, kicks the bucket into the fluid transposer, which puts the full bucket of whatever fluid you've got here, just like that. Puts it here, it dumps the fluid out into this tank, which then comes to fill this tank here, as you can see it's doing. And that is how you can turn those fluids into, or how you can set up an automated milking machine. And this, of course, is just regular fluid conduit, which is set to without redstone signal because I don't like messing with all the switches. And I keep spawning cows. Lots and lots of cows. Fluid cows. Fortunately for me, I had some spares, so I made a jetpack. Anyway, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't know what else I can go into as far as the upgrades I've made. Good luck and have fun playing Sky Factory 2.